Hello and welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to work with the Azure Insights for the monitoring with respected. And if you have not gone through the previous lecture, which we talked about the overview lecture on Azure Monitoring Insights. So let's jump into the demo. So before we actually jump into the demo, we need to talk about what are the technical pre-requirements are needed in terms of configuring insights. So when we talk about the monitoring, we worked earlier with the different lectures on metrics and also for the log analytics workspace, right? So here also we're going to work with the metrics and other things along with the log analytic workspace. So anything to do with the log analytics is directly related with the application insights. So when we talk about the application insights, we need to have the log analytics services to be configured, that workspace, so that actually all these insights can be configured or it will be redirected to log analytics workspace so that we would be getting all that information. So let's jump into creating as a first step. If you have not gone through that log analytics services, we'll try to create first log analytics service. So I search for the log analytics services and I can create here a new resource group for maybe just for the insight demo group, and then we would be creating log analytics service. And remember that this putting into the specific resource group will definitely help us in terms of cleaning up the resources also. So this is going to be the instance name. So I'm going to give here as an instance name as insights demo just for the log workspace name that would be. So coming to the pricing, as we talked earlier, it's going to be a per GB basis, so that will not charge much for us. We will be closing before 1 GB it gets actually. And once you review it, you can click on create. So that would actually create your log analytics specific workspace, which is we used to call it as a OMS in the earlier days. So now if you see here, this is what created. Now in the backend, I'm going to actually create a storage account. The reason being for the storage account is if I want to redirect any of the logs, all that can be stored within my storage account as a diagnostic purpose. So I'm gonna choose all the default values and create a storage account also, so that I can redirect my resources which I'm gonna create post to this step will be redirected to the storage account, all the debugging all that specific logs. And I'm going to actually fast forward here from here, like creating 2 virtual machines as well as 1 ScaleSet. So if you just see the my resource group, if I just go to the resource group, currently I have only insights and which is a log analytic workspace and the storage account. I just created here 2 virtual machines and 1 ScaleSet, and you can see here, and I didn't show up these because these are the basics things which you can create on your own. It's just plain ScaleSet as well as the virtual machine you can see here. So if you are trying to learn about how to create virtual machines or maybe ScaleSet, please do check out other lectures which was deeply talked on that. So now if I just take it any of the virtual machine called demo VM2 or maybe VM1, that's a VM1 and VM2, and 1 ScaleSet called scale-VMs. So these 3 things has been created in the backend. If I just go back to my Insights log analytic workspace, you have here actually 2 things. The first thing is you need to connect your data source, and then you need to configure your monitoring solution. So to do that, I need to actually configure this data source for my virtual machines. It can be Windows or it can be Linux. Or you can configure your activity logs, storage account logs, all that to redirect to the log analytics workspace. In fact, we talked about all these 2 things like Azure activity logs and storage account logs in the previous lecture with respect to the log analytics services. Now what we're going to do is now we are going to work with respect to the workspace data source by configuring virtual machines so that this data source would be redirected. Just to contact this log analytic workspace with this virtual machines. That's what we are gonna do it. Later point, we can also, if you want, we can configure the storage account logs, all of that. But in this demo, we're gonna work with the virtual machines. So click on virtual machine, and you see here you have three virtual machines. One is a VM01, VM02, and ScaleSets. All you have to do is simply click on the VM and then connect it. So this is gonna take some time to connect it. What would happen basically? So let me open up in a new tab. What would happen in the backend is, so if I just go to that virtual machine, there's going to be one extension is going to be deployed. So if I just go to my extensions within this virtual machine, so when we enable this monitoring, so this is what it's gonna enable. But if I just go to VM02 maybe you see here there's another other than the monitoring agent extension, there would be a backend extension also gets be deployed in a minute or so when we actually fully connected my VM01. So once that is done, I will get as this workspace is configured. Now I'm gonna do for the same thing for demo VM2, and also I will be doing for the ScaleSet from here, but I cannot do it from the ScaleSet here, so I need to do it actually from the ScaleSet. So let me show you the VM01 once again. Here the extensions, or let's go to the insights and see here you have the insights. At this point of time it was not yet enabled, and you don't have anything here, and all you have to do is you have to actually click on this enable button, which would enable. When you click on enable, it's going to actually enable the insights. So as of now, what we have done earlier is from the log analytics services, we have integrated only virtual machine for the monitoring, but we didn't enable anything with the insights. So the insight should be open or should be enabled directly by going to the virtual machine, and from the insights click on enable button. Then what would happen is there would be additional plugin that gets actually added as an extension so that you get the more information directly. So let me show you here. So at this point of time there's nothing was populating here. So if I just go to other virtual machine and do the same thing, like going back here and from the insights, I'll just go to the insights and here insights and then enable. So this is going to be actually deploy additional extension which will give us a predefined metrics or predefined configuration which will have the complete monitoring core things like for your performance specific CPU, all that. So let me pause this video recording and come back to you in a minute. So I've just paused it. 2 of the virtual machines has been successfully enabled. So all I have to do is I have to wait for some time to populate the data, because in the backend it has to install the agent. At the same time, if I just go to the extensions, actually I will be getting as the dependency agent windows, and if I just look at the type, Azure monitoring with respected. So the first one is, this one is actually coming from the log analytics specific, and this one would be the insight agent, which is nothing but the dependency agent window. And so this takes some time to pull out the information with the help of these 2 agents. So let's jump into, maybe we can jump into the ScaleSets to do the same thing. So I'll just go to my ScaleSets, and if you see here within this also you have the insights. So just click on the insights and enable, but this time even what happens is you need to actually choose here the workspace. So let's say you have more than one log analytic workspace also. Either you want to create as a new one or choose the existing one. So in my case I wanted to choose the existing one which we created already earlier. So that's a insights demo which I wanted to choose. So click on enable. This would actually take some time to enable the information, but remember we're talking about the ScaleSet. That means any configuration that we do it that needs to be updated. I mean to say, if a virtual machine already spinned up and it is readily available, we need to actually go back and click on an update. So if you see here, if you just read here, it says that hey, you have to go to the instance and select it and click on update. So in my case I configured a very basic ScaleSet which would definitely spike the creation of the virtual machine because the RAM and all other settings were aggressively configured. That's why when I do the upgrade, I'm getting actually more ScaleSet virtual machines has been updating in the back end, because that's running as a different 3 virtual machines. And in the back end, what I have done is I have actually logged into the virtual machine 1 and 2, as well as the ScaleSet to spike some of the CPU, network, all the traffic, so that I can actually simulate some real data. And you see here, this is what I'm talking about. So you have a predefined workbooks. So you can use these predefined workbooks with the help of Insights, so that you can straightforward, you can go ahead and you can view the core important things like CPU utilization or whatever it is, like network performance analysis, all that are default, which is available. So this is actually taking some time because we just initiated, and you see here there is 95% of the CPU hike is available on one of the VM, because I'm actually in the backend running on a VM01. There's a first VM as the CPU hiking, but other rest of the VMs, when it is spiked, it is actually not running higher performance. And you can also save this into the workbooks if you want it, and also you can check out how many number of virtual machines actually aggressively taking time, and their ScaleUp Notes, all that information you can find out. So we are actually looking very deeper level of insights, what exactly the ScaleSet and what is that virtual machine, and their average performance and the maximum performance and its strength. And also we can get it here, network dependencies, active ports, connections, performance analysis, all that you can pull up with the help of your performance, and all that can be pulled up with the help of Insights. So Insights gives the very good information here. Let's say if we are talking about the CPU, so one virtual machine would this is a virtual machine which is actually, if you look at here, the 001 is the virtual machine. This would actually spiked up because I'm running in the back end here. Within this, I try to connect it and then running the CPU load by stressing my CPU. So that's why it is giving higher CPU percentage. But for other virtual machines which were scaled, because from the scale, once it is crossed the 75%, it was spinned up 3 more virtual machines, looks like, and they're not running at the high end. You're getting actually great detailed information, including the network performance and the memory, all that. So all these are default, you're not created actually. But if we look at the normal performance, like as you're monitoring, you have to actually specify the specific metrics, all that detailed information, then you would be getting. But here you're actually getting a dedicated information which was already created for you. So you're using a default Insights which will give you great details of that specific information. So you see here malicious, network specific, all that you're getting. So let's go back. By this time we should actually get some information from the virtual machines also. So let's click on the VM01 and go to the Insights, and you should be able to get a great detailed view, very similar. And you see here you are actually getting, let me actually because I zoomed it for your convenience of your text to visible. So what I'll do is I'll just minimize the blades to a great way, like just minimize these also, so that you would actually get a great view. So just minimize, and now I can zoom it, and you see here I'm getting actually a great map for this map, and this is a virtual machine name, and in the backend 27 processors running, and one port which was open, which was contacted 7 servers, and 137 port is running, and I get very detailed view, and also I get the different clients which are connected to this virtual machine. So this is the 23 clients which are connected, so and so IP address. From this IP, these are all the public IPs are connected to this virtual machine, and it has established the connection basically. Now you're getting actually very great detailed with the map. So this is what actually pulling from the dependency agent that was we have shown in the extensions. You see here, that's a port, and as I said earlier, I have actually logged into the VM01 and then initiated a connection to a ScaleSet VM01. From there, that's a VM01. From here, I actually logged into Scale VM01 and try to initiate a connection with the RDP. That's why 3389 port is coming. So you get very detailed information of what's happening within that VM. This is what Insights actually gives you, right? You're getting very great view. You see here. So from there, I actually made an another connection with the RDP and running a stress on a CPU. You see here 100% it is CPU's performance taking. So I'm getting very detailed information out of my insights, and you get a great view in terms of the mapping format, right? So now when we look at other details, let's say you see here the port, all that is actually coming up very detailed, right? And now let's go to the back in the here you have the performance metrics. So you get, when you actually view these are the predefined things which you are getting automatically. As we talked earlier, actually, if I look at all other counters, you're able to see here in terms of the aggregated values, if you want, like utilization percentage. So it is actually taking 100% because I'm running on that virtual machine, also VM01, also a specific CPU loads. That's why it is taking 100% all the time. So I get the more information inside, and it is actually using the percentage wise aggregated values and the scope, and just for the, not just for the CPU, you're actually getting everything. So if you see here, it's actually taking 100% CPU. If I just stop it, and if I come back after 5 minutes maybe, and if I change that to 5 minutes metrics, I would be getting that value to be go down for my CPU. And you're getting disk IOPS, CPU, all that, which are actually coming as a default predefined for you, and utilizing that insights related to the performance specific information. And if I just go down, also I can show you some other details, like if I talk about the workbooks here, these are the workbooks. You can actually save it for your purpose, so that you can actually revisit and you can save that as a workbook. And available memory, so you see here the spike of the memory from 6.32, it has came down, and you see here the CPU, all that is actually coming up. And you can actually go for 5 minutes view if you want, and you can view that, but it's not 5 minutes, so you can't get the CPU specific performance specific, but you are getting actually all that. You can go to gallery and you can create your own workbooks from here, and within that workspace you can actually work on it. So you're getting detailed information about network dependencies, and from the workbooks you can create that specific one, and you get that view. Actually, you see here how much total network traffic which is going, and whether it is a malicious connections or the normal connection. You're getting a detailed information, the bytes, all that, along with the CPU processes which are taking. It's a great view, great detailed information you are actually getting out of it, right? And let's go to one more time to the Insights folder and have a look on the performance. And see here, this is for the disk performance. You see you're getting actual disk specific and CPU. You can check out the minimum, maximum, percentage, and disk latencies. So these are the default things you're getting. That's the insights which is available for you. And you can also click on the, earlier we talked about within the Azure monitoring section, we talked about the log events, alerts, connections, changes that you can track it, right? So all these are also directly you can do it from here, and you can monitor alerts and any of the severity based, and also any dependencies. You see here it's connected to 17 servers total, and it has established the number of connections, and the changes you can track it. So it's a great view that you have, and you can also view from the properties, the MAC ID, IP address, all that information. And similar thing for the VM02 also. And if I just go back to my insights, this should be actually talked more about the VM02. I'm running in the network traffic, but you can see the performance, all that in a minute or so. You see here the CPU percentage is going down from the spike, and also network is taking a lot of time, the memory, all that. Actually you get very detailed view here. The disk spiked up once because I ran something, and all that you're getting actually a great view. So Insights gives you great view, but how about network monitoring? So for the network monitoring, you just go to Azure Monitoring, and within the Azure Monitoring, we are actually talking now about the virtual machines, right? And also the ScaleSets. So you also have here, from here you can actually monitor applications, as we talked earlier, and also the storages, containers, and network specific. So when we talk about the network, here you have actually a different network monitoring specific. But for now, if you look at here, you are actually getting virtual machines a constant information which was connected to the workspace information, and the number of things, all that. And we talked about these things in the previous lectures also within the Azure monitoring. But if I just go to the network, so this is the default. You don't need to configure anything. You get a great view, but this is very limited actually in my point of view. But you get the spike of the network utilization. Let's say this is my VPN server, and how much GB it has used, connectivity and traffic, all that. You can get the more information. However, if you're looking for in detailed information, let's jump into the network watcher. I have created another lecture, a dedicated lecture on the Azure network watcher, which will be very useful in terms of the capturing packets and troubleshooting of your networks and hops, and also the rules that is causing issues to you. All that can be done from the network watcher. We have a dedicated lecture on that. Please do not miss out. Check out that lecture on networking section for network watcher. So how do we enable this network watcher? So if you have not gone through that lecture, quickly just a recap. What we do is we go to that virtual machine, under extensions we would be adding a extension, and that extension will give you the agreed detailed information about the networking. So the extension is here. That's a network watch agent for Windows. So simply click on that, so that gets installed. Once it is installed, you would be actually getting more information on the networking front. So that's about the network watcher, but you can check out very detailed information from the other lecture which we talked earlier. So you can capture packets, you can troubleshoot the networking, especially for the VPN, and if it is not healthy, that it's gonna resolve the problems. It's gonna actually tell you by clicking on the troubleshoot button there. And also the flow metrics, quotas, all that are available. And when we talk about the monitoring topology here, you can actually look at a great detailed view about the how the network was configured, and what are the virtual machines are connected to what network card, and NSGs, all that. So you get a great flow. And just if you're looking for the application insight, a great detail, just check out this lecture, how this is gonna do. If you look at the application insights, gonna install application insights within the web pages and your source code, all that, and then the backend it actually pulls, and based on that you can actually spin up alerts, you can export, you can talk with your REST API, and you can get the dependency rates, response time, failure rates, page views, all that information, along with telemetry data also can be collected, so that you know that what's happening on your business application and how the customers are behaving, or whether the application is getting crashed, if so, and what type of code it is causing, so that you can analyze, you can get the reports from the Power BI, or you can connect it. So you get a lot of options like this, which was showing in the green here, all these alerts, all that, Visual Studio, REST API, all that things. And make sure that you can check out this link which is posted within this lecture, and that would really helpful for you. Thank you for watching this.